based upon the formula that they used to determine what his back pay, what his pay would have been until 65 because there was some overlap in there.
There you go.
I thought he didn't do too bad for a guy looking for $400,000.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, I guess he did better than gambling at the casino.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and the other thing is that's tax-free money too, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I should say this, that most employment cases are not tax-free money.
Oh, okay.
They're not. They are taxable because the way that the IRS views it is that
it would have been income.
Yeah, that's representative of back pay, wages, or income. Yeah, it's much different than a personal injury award.
Yeah, PI or freebies.
Or yes, you got it.
Well, I want to talk about it when we come back, but part of the process is how long it takes and what your concern is for your employees that would be out of work and looking for jobs and not being able to feed their families.
Yes.
Because it's a tremendous amount of time. We're talking with Michelle Douglas and Kimberly Schurig, and we're talking about employment law and civil rights law, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
News Talk 1400 WOND. WOND. Radio.com.
Now back to Bob Burns in your afternoon on News Talk 1400 WOND.
All right, we're back with Michelle Douglas and Kimberly Schurig, and we're talking about employment law and civil rights law. The address is 1601 Tilton Road, Northfield, New Jersey, and the phone number is 609-788-3595. And what's the website?
www.myrightslawyer.com.
Myrightslawyer.com. And right now we're going to talk to Mike in Atlantic City. Mike, you're on the air. How are you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, folks. How are you?
Good.
I'd just like to make a quick comment. I've seen some of Michelle's work. I worked for the county, Atlantic County, several years ago, since retired, and very, very, very good worker and serves a tremendous purpose out there. But it is scary when you're working and you have to do something like that, whether it's being caught by a prosecutor or you do some whistleblowing. It's kind of funny with you guys talking about the case in Atlantic City. More familiar with that one. Just reading one of the comments that Harvey, the attorney for, I guess it was the city, saying, not quite this way, but it was like all he's doing, the chief, is costing the taxpayers money. And I'm like scratching my head there at 6:30 in the morning. It's like, well, if you run an administration the proper way, you're the one that's costing the taxpayer money. And that's what I don't get. And it was funny when you said about the paid 60-day leave of, that's what happens. It's nobody else's money. It's the taxpayer money. So they do what they want, how they want. And it's a sin. It really is a shame. But continue good work, and thank you for the show.
All right, Mike, I appreciate you checking in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. A good friend of mine who I represented a number of years ago, I don't know whether he would appreciate me using his name, but we won a case. We tried a case to conclusion against the city of Atlantic City, and we were at a loss for attempting to understand why the city would have permitted the case to go all the way through to trial with a successful jury verdict and end up costing millions of dollars. And he coined a phrase, OPM, other people's money. He said, Michelle, they just don't care. It's other people's money. And I don't know if that's a phenomena that's seen throughout governing bodies, but it is an explanation. You wonder if they were given a set amount of money that they knew was coming out of their pocket,
right? Whether
they'd act differently.
Well, you said it earlier that the same thing happens with this Lower Cape May MUA. It's that's the part I wanted to talk about this when we came back. And lawsuits just take forever to settle. Yeah. And it takes forever to get to court. A statute of limitations is 2 years. And generally what happens is you don't file it until just before the 2-year period if you didn't get resolved, right?
Right.
And then from the 2-year period, from that period on, the Mooney's trial was 3 years after.
Right.
2010 is when he was, I think, laid off.
That's right.
Or when he retired.
Yeah.
So it was 3 years later, and it just takes forever. Now you have 2 employees that are not working.
Right, that's right. Well, just to clarify one thing, in a Conscientious Employee Protection Act case, a whistleblower case, the statute of limitation is different, thank goodness. It's 1 year. It's a 1-year statute of limitations. But still, having said that,
Right.
it doesn't make life any easier for the person who has lost their job and has to support a family and now is without health insurance. And you're right. I mean, and God forbid you're in federal court. It even takes much longer to get reached in federal court. So here you are trying a case sometimes 3-4 years after the termination from employment.
Right.
It makes it very difficult because I've had clients who have had to declare bankruptcy.
It's a shame.
Or who have, had to undergo foreclosure. Most clients don't come to that bad or dire situation, but a lot of them really struggle, and that's what we're trying to achieve that right now by giving the governing body an opportunity to fix this problem before it gets out of hand, to save everybody in the long run, the taxpayers, the ratepayers, because the Municipal Utilities Authority is concerned about rates,
Yeah,
the
sure.
ratepayers, the governing body concerned about taxpayers, or they should be, and then the employees themselves concerned about their jobs and making a living.
Well, you have to think that they recognized that there was some problem if they gave the executive director 2 months off with pay.
Yeah, you think? Two months off with pay. That to me is not
How
a
does that work?
recognition.
How does that work?
I don't know how it works. I mean, we'll find out. That all these records are subject to open public records requests. We haven't filed litigation yet, although we will if we have to. But we're hoping that we do not have to.
Right.
So, how that works? The answer is I don't know I don't know the answer to that question yet. But 60 days paid. It's a 60 days paid vacation in my mind.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
For hitting somebody.
Yeah.
Jeez. Why not hit a few more employees?
Yeah.
90 days
knock
paid
your clock
vacation. Right.
So it's Kim, you always saying at the break when Michelle went to talk?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up a point. They wouldn't let Michelle talk. They weren't going to let anyone discuss anything.
Right.
And then finally, somebody in the crowd, I'm not exactly sure who it was,
Right.
He yelled, "Remember that next time when we have to vote people." And then he was like, "Oh, okay.
Oh, now you can talk.
Now we can talk."
Now you're allowed to talk. Well,
Got his attention then.
that's the way you get guys like that to pay attention.
I guess so.
Yeah, somebody has to do that. Let's talk a little bit about the civil rights law that you practice too. I'm a little interested in that too. I want to,
Sure.
I understand you have the whistleblower employment opportunities. Well, first of all, the employees that work for the MUA, they are actually employees at will, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Some of them are employees at will. What is an employee at will?
Yes.
An employee at will is somebody who's employed that has no contract and no statutory rights.
Okay.
And they can be terminated or not promoted. The bottom line is that they are employed at the will of their employer. So, for instance, when it comes to termination, the employer can fire them for good cause, for no cause, or for bad cause, so long as it doesn't violate the law.
Okay.
Compare that, and most people in the private sector are employees at will.
Okay.
Compare that with public employees and union employees. Union employees are protected by way of a union contract, so that if their job is threatened, there has to be a good cause. There has to be a good cause reasoning behind it. And those employees are entitled to notice, that is, what am I being charged with, and an opportunity to defend themselves. Same thing with a public employee. Your teachers, your police officers, your firefighters, they are protected by various statutes, Title 11 if they're civil service, or Title 40A if they're non-civil service employees, and they are also entitled to notice, due process rights, notice and opportunity to be heard on those charges before any adverse employment action can be taken against them.
I forgot about this, and this really intrigued me. That the board president was not able to get into the facility anymore. He was locked out.
Oh my goodness, yeah. That's not the board president. The board president, as I understand it, along with the executive director,
Commissioner.
are the subject of the investigation.
Okay.
The commissioner, who's been there for many, many years, Pete Bidding,
Right.
he and Mr. Fasoli, the two board members who sort of side with the employees, have been denied access
So it was
to
shut
the
out. Huh?
facility.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, under the auspices of security, I suppose, but they're the only ones who weren't provided with a key to the front door.
Okay. It says that you can't talk to employees anymore either, right?
They were given that directive, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That was from the executive director.
Correct.
It's his little kingdom. So,
You think? He's
So
running
60
it like a fiefdom.
60 days he's away. These guys can't talk to the employees, right?
Right.
That's pretty good.
Right.
I think I would have to have thoughts about that myself. I would have
Well,
thoughts about
that's
that.
what we were hoping to get the attention of the governing body, the lower township council members.
I think you have their attention now.
I hope so.
You
I-
may have
I
a
hope-
different greeting when you go down there this time.
Yeah, well, I hope some good comes. I mean, seriously,
Don't drink
I hope
the coffee, though.
good. No, don't drink their coffee.
Don't drink the coffee. No.
We'll ask Scott to bring that.
Unless
Some food.
open your own bottle.
Okay,
That's
we'll
my
do that.
advice.
Thank you for
That's
that
my
warning.
advice. This has been a lot of fun. We never did get to the did get to the civil rights law, but that's okay. We'll
Another
talk.
time.
We'll talk another time.
Sure, thanks,
But
Bob.
this has been pretty cool. I know it's a difficult situation, and people have to understand that just because you got fired doesn't mean you have a lawsuit.
That's right. Just because you get fired does not mean that you necessarily have a lawsuit.
And that always to remember, if you're an employee at will, it means you can be gone at will.
That's right.
And
The employer just cannot violate the law.
no.
Can't retaliate against you, employee at will, if you've participated with the Gateway County Prosecutor's Office in a criminal investigation.
I would say that would be top of my list of people I want to cooperate with.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would think so too. Yeah, I would definitely want to cooperate with them. All right, just let me go over this stuff again. It's 1601 Tilton Road in Northfield, and the phone number is 609-788-3595 and
www.myrightslawyers.com.
myrightslawyers.com. That's
You
pretty
got it.
cool. 26 years in the business, huh?
You got it.
You think you got it figured out yet?
I don't think I've anything figured out except this case for now, Bob.
This case you're sure about, huh?
I am, yes.
Well, this should be. I want to know how this works out. This is going to be interesting. I feel bad for the two employees that lost their position because
Yeah.
they could be a long time before they ever got their jobs back.
I agree.
And so they're
Thank you for your
suffering.
well wishes.
Well, we're going to be back in at 3 o'clock hour, and we're going to talk about the